Hey y'all, I hope you and your loved ones are doing as well as can be today. So today I have a video about some updates.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Also, another quick note, I look extra pale, not just because I'm anemic, but because I'm right in front of a window and it is an overcast day somewhat, so it's diffusing the light and making me look more pale. So for those of you who don't follow me on Instagram, you probably missed it in my stories. I did a quick little update about my urology appointment. By the way, check out the description box below. I have my links to my Instagram if you want to follow me on there. I update more frequently on there. I'm going to give a quick background. I have neurogenic bladder, meaning my bladder is partially paralyzed, and this is due to my spinal cord injury. And my autonomic dysfunction is probably contributing, my autonomic nervous system dysfunction, which is from my POTS. Really, after I had my emergency spine surgery in 2018 is when I wasn't able to empty my bladder every day. Like after that, is when I started to have regular issues with emptying my bladder. So I was taught how to self-catheterize, meaning I use a catheter anytime I'm not able to empty my bladder on my own. So I stick a catheter inside my urethra and I empty my bladder, and I've been doing that for a year and a half. And yes, it's very uncomfortable, but you gotta do what you gotta do. I have been having an issue lately, like 6 months or so, but it's gotten much worse lately. It's been on and off for 6 months. But lately, it's more frequent, especially at night, where I get an urgency, like an urgent feeling to go pee, but then I run to the bathroom because I feel like I'm gonna pee my pants. And then I can't actually go. I'll be able to start my stream, but I can't finish. And I'll use the catheter to try to finish, which normally would work. But lately, even with the catheter, I'm not able to empty my bladder. It's extremely frustrating. This is something, like I said, I've been dealing with on and off for months. And we thought at first it was from my UTIs. We thought it's just like another UTI, it's another UTI, but I don't have another UTI and I'm still having the issue. I can't empty my bladder, but then I still have this feeling like I have to go, or like I have pee that needs to be like released. Long story short, I'm having issues with my bladder, not being able to empty, and then also some incontinence. So I talked to my urologist and she's awesome. But anyway, my urologist, she said the same thing my general practitioner said, which she's pretty sure it's overactive bladder. So overactive bladder is actually a diagnosis I got a couple years ago when I was actually in the hospital, when it was still the beginning of my issues with my bladder, just like a few months after my surgery. Before I got diagnosed with neurogenic bladder after a urodynamics test, I was in the hospital frequently for not being able to empty my bladder, and at one point I was diagnosed with overactive bladder. But then when I got diagnosed with neurogenic bladder, we thought that that was a wrong diagnosis. But actually, as it turns out, my urologist said in some cases, especially where there is a spinal cord injury, in addition to other health issues that affect the nervous system specifically, then that can result in both neurogenic bladder and overactive bladder. She said it's rare, especially with younger people. Overactive bladder mostly affects elderly people, but she said in rare cases that could happen. So I'm the lucky one, right? I'm really hoping this medicine that she prescribed will help. I actually, 2 years ago, when I was first diagnosed with overactive bladder, I was given oxybutynin to try to help, and it actually didn't help that much, and it caused my dehydration to get worse. I was at the point that my mouth was so dry I couldn't even swallow my food. So I had to stop oxybutynin. We played around with the doses and I kept having side effects. So now that I'm having this issue again, we're going to try a different medication. She prescribed something called, I believe, Mirabetrix. It's basically the same thing as oxybutynin. It's supposed to help with overactive bladder and bladder spasms. She did say what's happening specifically is that my bladder is overactive at times. So when my bladder isn't full, I'll get the sensation like it's really full and I have to go. But in reality, what's happening is my bladder is spasming. It's not that my bladder is full. So she said that when it spasms, it'll tense up, and when it tenses up is when urine isn't able to come out. So that's why sometimes I'm able to pee and then I'm not, and then I'm able to pee and then I'm not. It's because my bladder is spasming. And she said when it's tensed up and I put the catheter inside of my urethra, what happens is it hits the bladder wall. So she explained it like it's putting a straw inside of a cup that's squeezed and it's just hitting the wall instead of sucking up the water. Great analogy, right? So basically, because of my bladder spasms, I wasn't able to properly empty my bladder, and I was getting the sensation that I was needing to go pee even when I wasn't. It was just because my bladder is spasming. So because of these spasms, I am having pelvic pain in addition to issues with emptying my bladder. I'm really hoping the medicine she prescribed, I'm hoping it won't cause the same side effects. She said it shouldn't cause the dry mouth and dehydration, which is good because I'm already severely dehydrated from POTS, which is why I get 2 liters of IV fluids a day. Got my IV going. I'm always hooked up to my IV and getting my fluids like pretty much 24/7, and I'm still dehydrated. So I'm really hoping this new medication will help my overactive bladder and bladder spasms. She also ordered an ultrasound for my bladder and for my kidneys because I haven't had one in over a year. I'm overdue. I get yearly kidney ultrasounds because I do have some kidney damage and I have a lipoma on my right kidney, which is a kidney tumor, benign. So we're just going to check on that, and she said that I'm going to have to see her again in 6 weeks to follow up on the ultrasound and like to see how the medication is going. So fingers crossed, I'm really hoping it will help because these bladder spasms get really bad sometimes, especially at night. It'll wake me up when I feel like I'm going to pee myself and I rush to the bathroom and then I'm not able to go, and I end up spending like literally 30 minutes in the bathroom trying to empty my bladder. It doesn't even work with a catheter, like I said. So I'm really putting all my hope in this medication, and I hope that my insurance is going to cover it. It's actually been a few days since she ordered it, and I haven't heard from my pharmacy. So after this video, I'm going to have to give them a call to see what's going on with that, and hopefully it's covered. I have Medicaid, and Medicaid is not the best at covering prescriptions, unfortunately. Oftentimes we have to pay for it out of pocket. So hopefully if they don't cover it, then they will cover an alternative. So yeah, that's basically it for my urology update. So that was my urology update, and my endocrinology update is a little quicker. I had my endocrinology appointment last week over the phone with a new endocrinologist, and he's awesome. I love him. He actually spent his time with me. We spent an hour on the phone, which is great because my last endocrinologist would just rush through the appointment. It would be like 10 minutes long, and she wasn't that helpful. I really appreciate the fact that he's so thorough, especially because I am a complex case and I have a lot of illnesses and symptoms. So yeah, very grateful. I found a really good endocrinologist that's in my network. And yeah, so my appointment was last week, and we talked about mainly my thyroid issues and my low blood sugar issues. I do have hypothyroidism, which I've had for about 8 to 9 years, on and off kind of. Like I've been in remission for about 1.5 years, almost 2 years, meaning I haven't needed my thyroid hormone for about 2 years, which is awesome. But recently my thyroid has got slow again. It's a little underactive. Thankfully, he said it's not too bad, and because it's not too bad and I've been in remission for so long, he's just going to keep an eye on it and see if it gets any worse. He's going to put me back on my levothyroxine, which is my thyroid hormone that I was on for years. Hopefully I won't need to get back on that. We're just monitoring for now. Like I said, it's not like as bad as it was. It seems to be getting better, so hopefully it gets better and better, and I won't need to get back on my thyroid medication. But in the meantime, he ordered a test for Hashimoto's to see what's going on, if there's an underlying if there's an underlying autoimmune issue causing the hypothyroid or if it's because of the mycotoxin disease, which it could be from that. I also had Lyme disease for years, which is when my thyroid problem started, so that could have triggered it. We really don't know. But I think it's a good thing that he ordered a Hashimoto's test just so we could hopefully rule that out. Or if I do have that, then we'll know more about what treatment to follow. He also ordered a test for Addison's disease, which many doctors have said that I most likely have that, but it's hard to diagnose because it's like hormones and hormones change all the time, and also because I have POTS, and the symptoms of POTS overlap with the symptoms of Addison's disease, which is also known as adrenal insufficiency. So my new endocrinologist thought it would be good just to check to see if I do have that after all. So yeah, he ordered the Hashimoto's test and then the test for the Addison's disease, which is like a cortisol and hormone test. And then finally, we talked about my low blood sugar issues, which is from hypoglycemia. He said what my other endocrinologist said, which is that my pancreas is not working properly, which is why I'm having so many issues with my blood sugar. This is most likely because of the damage from the mycotoxin disease and my other illnesses. So for now, we're just going to keep an eye on it. I am doing like a log book where I'm taking my blood sugar in the morning, and like it's supposed to be every 2 hours, but I'm pretty much just doing it when I'm symptomatic. Thankfully, I don't get symptomatic every day, but I do have many days where my blood sugar issue is just really bad. I'll get really low, especially when I wake up. I'll be like really shaky and sweaty and dizzy, and I almost feel like anxious, and that's when I know my blood sugar is low. I have had a couple seizures recently from low blood sugars, either early in the morning or late at night. So this has been my main concern with my low blood sugars is my seizures. I have found personally that I usually feel better when I don't eat as much sugar. I do like natural sugars like fruit, and I'm totally fine with that. And sometimes I'll do like non-refined sugars like coconut sugar and maple syrup, and I seem to be okay with that too. So I'm gonna cut out refined sugars again and just stick with like the natural. That's all the updates I have for now. We will find out. He did send the tests to my house so that my nurse, my home health nurse, can run my blood work from home. That's what I've been doing lately, is blood work from my PICC line. My nurse will just, the doctor will order the labs, it'll get sent in the mail, and then the nurse will collect blood from my PICC line. So thankfully I have a central line, so I don't have to go out to the lab anymore for blood work. Super grateful about that. Also really quick, just a very quick update on my mast cell and asthma / lung disease issues. I have been pretty flared up with my asthma, so I have been on oxygen every day, 3 liters per minute. And honestly, sometimes even on 3 liters per minute, I still struggle for a good breath. I have had a lot of days lately where I'm just like gasping for air and I'm so short of breath. And I don't know, my doctor believes it's air hunger, especially because I'm on oxygen. And when I'm on oxygen, my oxygen levels are pretty good, but I still get this feeling like my chest is really tight and I can't get a full breath of air. It's extremely frustrating, but I'm just so grateful that I have oxygen and that I'm able to breathe somewhat. So just wanted to update about that. And also my allergies from my mast cell issues have been flared up because they seem to always flare up in the summer, which is really unfortunate because I love the summer. My body and my allergies not so much, so that has been a big issue. I am actually back on Atarax, which I had to stop for a while because of side effects, but that's the only thing that we have found in the last couple years to help my allergies somewhat. My mast cell allergies are really out of control, even with Atarax, but without it, it's like unbearable. My eyes get extremely irritated and are constantly watery and itchy and blurry, and I have just itchies and rashes all over daily, as well as serious congestion, and that does not help with my breathing because I'm already short of breath, so not being able to breathe through my nose adds to the discomfort. And so I'm going to be talking about my mast cell issues with my POTS doctor on Friday because my POTS cardiologist actually knows a lot about mast cell activation syndrome. So he's the one that has prescribed the Atarax and the Cromolyn. I'm still on Cromolyn, although I don't notice a big difference with it as far as my mast cell goes. But yeah, I was told that when mast cell flares up that it could flare up POTS, so that's something that we're definitely going to try to get managed. Those are my updates for today. I hope that you guys are doing well and staying safe. I appreciate you for watching this video. Please give this video a like. It would really help my channel out. And subscribe if you haven't already to see me on my chronic illness journey. And please hit the bell for notifications on when I post new videos. Alrighty, I'll see you guys next time. Ciao, ciao.